In the heart of the Swiss Alps, nestled amidst towering peaks and serene lakes, lay a fortress like no other. The Central Vault of Geneva, a testament to human ingenuity and paranoia, housed the fortunes of nations and the dreams of empires. It was a place where wealth whispered and power slept soundly, guarded by an army of vigilant eyes and impenetrable barriers. This was not just a vault, it was a sanctuary of secrets, a cathedral of capital, and it was about to be violated. On a weathered table in a secluded cabin, far from the watchful gaze of the Swiss authorities, lay a blueprint. It was not a blueprint for a bridge or a skyscraper, but for something far more audacious, far more daring. It was the blueprint for the impossible, the blueprint for the perfect heist. Every line, every symbol, every annotation whispered of meticulous planning, of countless hours spent studying, analyzing, and strategizing.
This is my creation, the brainchild of years of planning. With the precision of a surgeon and the vision of an artist, I have dissected the Central Vault, laying bare its every secret, every vulnerability. I know its rhythms, its patterns, its weaknesses, as intimately as a lover knows the contours of a cherished body.
For months, Leo had pored over satellite images, architectural plans, and security protocols, committing every detail to his photographic memory. He had recruited a team of specialists, each a master in their own right, each chosen for their unique skills and unwavering nerve. Together, they would attempt to breach the most secure vault in the world, a feat that had been dismissed as madness by many. But Leo knew better. He knew that with meticulous planning, unwavering trust, and a healthy dose of audacity, even the impossible could be achieved. Leo, or the Mastermind as he was known in certain circles, was not a man driven by greed or a lust for material wealth. He saw the world as a grand chessboard, and the Central Vault was simply the most challenging move in the game. The thrill lay not in the riches themselves but in the intellectual pursuit, the elegant execution of a plan so audacious, so flawlessly conceived, that it bordered on art.
My mind is a labyrinth of intricate plans and contingencies, a place where every possible scenario has been anticipated, every variable accounted for. I've spent years honing my craft, studying the art of deception, the science of infiltration, and the psychology of security. I understand that the greatest security systems are only as strong as the human beings who designed and operated them. And human beings, well, they are creatures of habit, prone to predictability and susceptible to manipulation.
There was a certain detachment to Leo's demeanor, a clinical precision to his every move and word. He treated the heist as a complex equation, a puzzle to be solved with logic and cold, hard calculation. Emotions were a liability, a weakness to be exploited in others but never indulged in himself. He demanded absolute loyalty and unwavering discipline from his team, for he knew that even the smallest misstep could spell disaster.
Beneath that icy exterior there burns a fierce intelligence, a relentless drive that pushes me beyond the limits of what others deem possible. I possess an unwavering belief in my own abilities, a confidence that borders on arrogance. But it is this very confidence, this unshakable belief in myself and my team, that has brought us to this point. The Central Vault, for all its impenetrable walls and sophisticated technology, is just another puzzle to be solved, another challenge to be overcome.
The stakes had never been higher. The Central Vault of Geneva was not merely a repository of wealth, it was a symbol of Swiss neutrality, a bastion of global finance. A successful heist would send shockwaves across the world, shaking the very foundations of the international financial system. Governments would fall, economies would crumble, and the balance of power could shift overnight.
Failure is not an option. The Swiss authorities are renowned for their efficiency and ruthlessness when it comes to protecting their financial institutions. Capture would mean a life behind bars, a fate worse than death for a man who cherishes freedom above all else. And yet the sheer audacity of the plan, the impossible odds, only serve to fuel my determination.
The Central Vault, with its layers of security, its labyrinthine corridors, and its state-of-the-art surveillance systems, represented the ultimate challenge. It was a fortress designed to withstand any assault, to deter even the most seasoned criminals. But Leo and his team were no ordinary criminals. They were artists of the impossible, masters of deception, and they were about to embark on a mission that would make history. Sasha, known in the digital underworld as the tech wizard, possessed an almost supernatural ability to commune with machines. From a young age, she had displayed an uncanny aptitude for all things technological, deconstructing and rebuilding computers before she could even tie her shoelaces.
While other children played hopscotch and traded baseball cards, I built robots and hacked into government databases. The internet was my playground, a vast digital landscape where I roamed freely, leaving my mark on every server I touched. I speak the language of ones and zeros with a fluency that borders on poetry, bending complex algorithms to my will with effortless grace.
Firewalls crumbled before her, encryption keys melted like snowflakes in her digital fire. To Sasha, the Central Vault's security system, for all its sophistication, was simply another puzzle to be solved, a challenge to be savored. She saw through the layers of code, the intricate algorithms and the impenetrable firewalls as if they were child's play. She understood the logic of the system, its vulnerabilities, its hidden backdoors.
In my hands, a simple laptop becomes a weapon of mass disruption, capable of bringing the world's most secure systems to their knees. I can disable alarms, manipulate surveillance feeds, and even remotely control elevators, all with a few keystrokes. I am the ghost in the machine, the unseen hand that can manipulate the digital world to my will.
Sasha was the ghost in the machine, the unseen hand that could manipulate the digital world to her will. Max, or the Muscle as he was known, was a study in contrasts. His imposing physique, honed from years of boxing and weightlifting, radiated an aura of raw power and quiet intensity. Beneath the surface, however, lay a sharp mind and an unwavering loyalty to those he considered family.
Life had dealt me a tough hand. Raised in the unforgiving streets of Detroit, I learned to fight for everything I had. Boxing was my salvation, a way to channel my aggression and discipline my body.
He moved with the grace of a dancer, his fists like guided missiles, each blow carrying the weight of his past struggles. But fate, it seemed, had other plans for Max. A career-ending injury forced him to retire from the ring, leaving him adrift in a world that seemed to have no place for a man of his skills.
That's when Leo found me. He saw a kindred spirit, a man who understood the importance of loyalty, discipline, and unwavering commitment.
Max's role in the heist was twofold. He was the team's muscle, the one who could move heavy objects, break down walls, and handle any physical challenges the vault might throw their way. But he was also their protector, a silent guardian who watched over the team with an unwavering gaze, always ready to put himself in harm's way to ensure their safety.
The Central Vault, with its intricate laser grids and pressure-sensitive floors, was the ultimate obstacle course for me. I saw the security measures not as barriers, but as challenges to be overcome, puzzles to be solved with my unique skill set. Narrator, media, woman performing circus stunts, woman with circus background, circus performer practicing. Raised in a traveling circus, Lila had spent her formative years surrounded by daredevils, clowns, and illusionists. The impossible was her playground, the laws of nature mere suggestions to be challenged and subverted. She had learned to trust her instincts, to rely on her reflexes, and to embrace the thrill of danger. S4, media, woman moving fluidly through obstacles, woman moving like water, woman performing seamless parkour. I moved with the fluidity of water, my limbs flowing seamlessly from one movement to the next, each step a calculated risk. Narrator, media, woman taking calculated risks, woman moving with precision, woman performing calculated parkour moves. Lila, the acrobat, was a creature of pure agility, a master of defying gravity and bending the laws of physics to her will. From a young age, she had displayed a natural talent for acrobatics, her body a symphony of grace and precision.
Her small stature, often perceived as a weakness, was her greatest asset, allowing her to slip through narrow passages, scale sheer walls, and contort her body into seemingly impossible positions. Lila was the team's secret weapon, the silent dancer who could navigate the vault's defenses with the grace of a phantom. She was the embodiment of agility, precision, and unwavering focus. The air crackled with anticipation as the team approached the Central Vault in their nondescript white van. The Swiss Alps, normally a picture of serene beauty, now seemed to loom over them, their snow-capped peaks transformed into silent sentinels guarding the fortress of finance nestled within their heart. The weight of their mission, the sheer audacity of what they were about to attempt, settled upon them like a physical burden.
I expertly navigated the winding mountain roads, my hands moving with a practiced ease that belied the tension in my eyes. Each curve in the road, each approaching bend, brought us closer to our target, closer to the point of no return.
The van, outfitted with stolen license plates and a carefully crafted backstory, was their Trojan horse, a seemingly innocuous vehicle carrying within its unassuming shell the tools of a meticulously planned heist. As they approached the first checkpoint, a wave of apprehension washed over the team. Two heavily armed guards, their faces etched with the seriousness of their duty, stood watch, their eyes scanning every vehicle that dared approach the inner sanctum of Swiss banking. The air thrummed with the silent hum of surveillance technology, an invisible web of cameras and motion sensors watching their every move.
My fingers danced across the keyboard of my custom-built laptop, already beginning my digital ballet. Manipulating the security feeds, I created a virtual smokescreen that would allow us to slip past the guards' watchful eyes. My code, a symphony of ones and zeros, flowed through the system, a digital ghost in the machine, bending the will of technology to my own.
The team held their breath. The moment of truth was upon them. Section 2, breaching the perimeter.
Maintenance. We're here for the scheduled HVAC inspection.
The van rolled to a stop a few meters from the checkpoint. Leo, his face a mask of professional indifference, leaned out the window, flashing a disarming smile at the guards. He brandished a forged work order, complete with official-looking stamps and signatures.
Maintenance. We're here for the scheduled HVAC inspection.
One guard, his suspicion momentarily assuaged, glanced at the document, while the other, his gaze sharper, more suspicious, continued to scrutinize the van and its occupants. Inside the vehicle, the tension was palpable. Each tick of the clock seemed to echo in the confined space, a constant reminder of the precious seconds slipping away. Max, his massive frame crammed into the passenger seat, could feel beads of sweat forming on his brow despite the cool mountain air. His hands, calloused from years of training, instinctively clenched into fists, his body primed for action. He knew that if their cover was blown, if the guards sensed even a whiff of deception, they would be facing a firefight they were ill-equipped to win.
Softly. Breathe, Max. We've got this.
Lila, her petite frame almost lost in the back of the van, stretched, her muscles coiled like springs, ready to unleash their pent-up energy. Her eyes, bright and alert, darted back and forth, taking in every detail of their surroundings, her mind already plotting escape routes, calculating angles of attack and evasion. Section 3, the disguise. After what felt like an eternity, the guard with the sharper gaze finally nodded curtly, his suspicions seemingly allayed. Guard, all right, but make it quick. We don't want any delays. The van slowly rolled past the checkpoint, and the team breathed a collective sigh of relief. The first hurdle had been cleared. They were inside the perimeter. Now the real work could begin. Following Sasha's carefully orchestrated instructions, Nico drove the van along a predetermined route, bypassing security cameras, avoiding patrols, and blending seamlessly with the facility's legitimate traffic. They parked in a designated maintenance bay, their arrival timed to coincide with a shift change, further reducing the risk of detection.
All right, team, suits on, time to blend in.
Donning their disguises, generic blue jumpsuits, hard hats, and tool belts, the team exited the van, their movements practiced and precise. They had rehearsed this moment countless times, each member knowing their role, their every step choreographed to perfection. To the casual observer, they were just another group of maintenance workers going about their daily routine. But beneath the surface of normalcy, a current of tension still thrummed. They were in the belly of the beast now, surrounded by the enemy, their every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. One wrong step, one slip-up, and their carefully constructed facade could crumble, plunging them into a maelstrom of bullets and flashing sirens. Section 1. The vent shaft. The air hung heavy with the smell of dust and stale air as Max heaved open the grate, revealing a narrow, dimly lit vent shaft. This was Lila's domain, a claustrophobic labyrinth where agility trumped brute strength and precision was the difference between success and a bone-crushing fall. One by one, the team exchanged uneasy glances, their faces illuminated by the pale glow of their headlamps.
You sure about this, Lila? It's tight in there. Even I'd think twice about squeezing through that.
Don't worry, big guy. I've been in tighter spots than this.
With a graceful movement that belied the cramped quarters, Lila slipped into the vent, her body seeming to melt into the darkness. The others watched, their breath catching in their throats as she disappeared from view, her passage marked only by the soft scrape of metal on metal. The weight of their mission, the knowledge that their fate rested on the shoulders of this seemingly fragile young woman, settled upon them like a physical burden. Sasha, her fingers flying across her keyboard, monitored Lila's progress through a series of miniature cameras the Acrobat had cleverly concealed within her clothing. The images flickered to life on her laptop screen, grainy and indistinct, but enough to give them a sense of her surroundings. The vent shaft opened into a small, windowless room, its walls lined with banks of blinking lights and humming servers. This was the nerve center of the vault's security system, a technological fortress guarding the riches within. Lila, her heart pounding in her chest, could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon her, the silent scrutiny of countless cameras and motion sensors. Taking a deep breath, she slipped out of the vent and dropped silently to the floor, her movements fluid and precise. The air thrummed with the silent energy of 1,000 volts, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked at every turn.
Let's do this.
Stretching out her hand, she traced the outline of a laser beam, its crimson light painting her fingers a deadly hue. The vault's laser grid was a masterpiece of modern engineering, a complex web of intersecting beams designed to detect even the slightest disturbance. To the untrained eye, it was an impenetrable barrier, a death trap waiting to be sprung. But to Lila, it was a challenge, a puzzle to be solved with her unique blend of agility, precision, and nerves of steel. With the grace of a dancer, she moved through the laser grid, her body twisting, contorting, and bending in ways that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Each movement was carefully calculated, every muscle in her body working in perfect harmony to avoid triggering the alarms. She moved like a phantom, a whisper of movement in the stillness of the vault. Time seemed to stretch and distort as Lila made her way through the labyrinthine network of laser beams. Each successful maneuver fueled her confidence, but also heightened the tension, the knowledge that one wrong move could spell disaster for her and the entire team. The air grew thick with anticipation, the silence broken only by the gentle hum of the servers and the pounding of her own heart.
Almost there.
Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she reached her objective, a small, nondescript panel on the far wall. This was the control panel for the laser grid, the key to disabling the entire system and allowing the team to proceed with the heist. Crouching low, she examined the panel, her fingers tracing the outline of its access port. From a hidden pocket within her jumpsuit, she produced a small, specialized tool, its tip glowing faintly in the dim light. This was Sasha's handiwork, a custom-designed device capable of interfacing with the vault's security system and bypassing its safeguards.
You got this, Lila. Just a little more.
With a deep breath, she inserted the tool into the access port and began to work, her fingers moving with the practiced ease of a concert pianist. Lines of code scrolled rapidly across the screen of Sasha's laptop as she monitored Lila's progress, her own heart pounding in unison with her teammates. The tension in the room was palpable, a tangible force that pressed down on them all. One by one, the red lights on the security panel flickered and died as Lila expertly disabled the laser grid, her movements swift and precise.
Done. The path is clear.
The path was clear. With the laser grid successfully deactivated, the team regrouped at the entrance to the vault's inner sanctum. The air hummed with a palpable tension, a mixture of anticipation and dread. They were now in the heart of the beast, surrounded by tons of reinforced steel and the watchful eyes of 1,000 unseen sentinels.
30 minutes, that's all we have before the system reboots and triggers a full lockdown. Let's make every second count.
The others nodded grimly, their faces illuminated by the pale glow of their headlamps. Max, his massive frame dwarfing the narrow corridor leading to the vault door, took point, his eyes scanning their surroundings for any sign of trouble. His hand rested lightly on the butt of a silenced pistol concealed beneath his jumpsuit, a silent reminder of the stakes involved. Lila, her movements light and graceful despite the tension, followed close behind, her senses on high alert.
All right, let's see what we're dealing with.
Sasha, her laptop whirring softly, brought up the schematics for the vault door on her screen. It was a masterpiece of modern engineering, a seemingly impenetrable barrier of steel, titanium, and composite alloys, bristling with electronic locks, pressure sensors, and thermal detectors. Even with her skills, bypassing its defenses would be a race against time, a delicate dance between her digital prowess and the unforgiving logic of the vault's security system.
Here goes nothing.
The clock was ticking. The vault door, a towering monolith of steel and technology, loomed before them, its surface gleaming dully in the dim light. It was a formidable sight, a testament to human ingenuity and paranoia, designed to withstand any assault, to deter even the most determined thief. But Leo, his mind already several steps ahead, had anticipated its every defense, every hidden trap, every failsafe.
Mirrors. We'll use mirrors to bypass the photoelectric sensors. Sasha, I need you to create a diversion, something to distract the system while I work.
Sasha nodded, her fingers already flying across her keyboard, summoning a digital storm within the vault's network. Leo, his movements precise and deliberate, began to position a series of small, highly reflective mirrors within the vault door's locking mechanism. Each mirror had been carefully calibrated, its angle adjusted to within a fraction of a millimeter, to deflect the laser beams that crisscrossed the interior of the lock. One wrong move, one tremor of his hand, and the entire system would trip, triggering an alarm that would bring the entire Swiss Guard down on their heads. The air crackled with tension as Leo worked, his brow furrowed in concentration, his breath shallow and controlled. The others watched in silence, their own anxieties mounting with each passing second. They were like astronauts on a spacewalk, tethered to the thin thread of Leo's expertise, their lives hanging in the balance. A symphony of clicks echoed in the vault's inner chamber, each click a testament to Leo's precision and expertise. The final lock disengaged. The heavy vault door swung open, revealing a room that shimmered and glittered under the harsh glare of the security lights. Stacks of gold bullion gleamed like a pharaoh's treasure, each bar heavy with the promise of untold wealth. Precious gems, diamonds, rubies, and emeralds sparkled in their velvet-lined cases, their beauty a testament to the Earth's hidden wonders.
What's happening?
But amidst the euphoria of victory, a discordant note jarred the silence. A high-pitched whine, barely audible at first, began to rise in pitch and intensity, like an approaching siren. The lights flickered, casting ominous shadows that danced across the treasure-laden walls. Max growled, his hand instinctively moving towards the weapon concealed beneath his jumpsuit. His eyes, accustomed to the dim light of the vault, struggled to adjust to the sudden change in illumination.
System glitch, it's rebooting, ahead of schedule.
Sasha's face, illuminated by the eerie glow of her laptop screen, was a mask of concentration, her fingers flying across the keyboard in a desperate attempt to diagnose the problem. Panic threatened to engulf them, but Leo, his voice a calm amidst the storm, quickly took charge.
We don't have time to figure out what went wrong. We need to get what we came for and get out. Now!
The team, their initial shock giving way to a surge of adrenaline, sprang into action. Max and Lila, their movements honed by years of training, began to systematically fill their bags with the most valuable items, gold bars, diamonds, and a handful of priceless artifacts small enough to be easily concealed. Sasha, her fingers a blur of motion on her laptop keyboard, worked feverishly to buy them more time, creating a digital smokescreen to mask their presence from the vault's security system. She knew it was a losing battle, a desperate gamble against a relentless opponent, but every second counted. The air crackled with a palpable tension, a mixture of fear and determination. The whine of the alarm grew louder, more insistent, a constant reminder of the danger closing in on them. They were trapped in a gilded cage, surrounded by unimaginable wealth, but with every passing second, the walls seemed to be closing in.
This way!
Leo shouted, grabbing Sasha's arm and pulling her towards a narrow, almost invisible doorway concealed behind a tapestry depicting a bucolic Swiss landscape. It was a service entrance, a forgotten passage leading to a network of maintenance tunnels that snaked beneath the vault's imposing edifice. Max, his massive frame a tight fit in the narrow passageway, took up the rear, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings, his hand never straying far from the weapon concealed beneath his jumpsuit. He was their shield, their protector, the last line of defense between them and the army of security guards he knew would soon be on their trail. The air in the tunnels was stale and thick with the smell of dust and decay. The flickering light from their headlamps cast eerie shadows that danced along the rough-hewn walls, creating the illusion of movement where there was none. The silence was broken only by the sound of their own ragged breathing and the pounding of their hearts, each beat a deafening reminder of the danger they were in.
Nico should be waiting for us at the south access point, but we need to move quickly. The longer we stay down here, the greater the chance of being detected.
The air was thick with the smell of exhaust fumes and anticipation as the team emerged from the tunnel's shadowy maw, blinking in the sudden glare of the setting sun. The Swiss Alps, their snow-capped peaks now bathed in a golden glow, seemed to loom over them, silent witnesses to their daring escape. Nico, his eyes narrowed against the fading light, spotted them instantly, his lips curling into a tight grin. He gunned the engine, the powerful V8 roaring to life like a caged beast eager for release. The sleek black van, its windows tinted and impenetrable black, was their chariot, a symbol of freedom and escape in a world rapidly closing in on them.
Get in!
Nico shouted, his voice barely audible above the roar of the engine. He didn't need to tell them twice. One by one they piled into the van, their bodies weary, their nerves frayed, but their spirits soaring with the exhilaration of survival. The van lurched forward, tires spitting gravel as Nico slammed his foot down on the accelerator. They were out of the tunnel now, racing along a narrow mountain road, the wind screaming past the windows, carrying with it the distant wail of approaching sirens. The road twisted and turned like a serpent's tail, each curve a test of Nico's skill and nerve. He handled the van with the precision of a surgeon, his hands moving effortlessly on the steering wheel, his foot dancing on the pedals as he coaxed every ounce of power from the engine. Sasha, her laptop humming softly on her knees, had created a digital smokescreen that masked their presence from the pursuing authorities, but she knew it was only a matter of time before their luck ran out. The Swiss Guard, renowned for their efficiency and tenacity, would not give up easily. Max, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings, spotted a police checkpoint ahead, its flashing lights a beacon of danger in the gathering darkness.
Nico, we need to lose them.
He shouted, his voice barely audible above the roar of the engine and the wind whipping through the open windows. Nico, his lips curling into a feral grin, didn't hesitate. He veered sharply off the main road, onto a barely discernible track that snaked its way up the side of the mountain. The van bounced and swayed precariously on the rough terrain, but Nico never faltered, his confidence in his own abilities absolute. Days later, as the world reeled from the audacity of the heist, the team reconvened at their secluded hideout, a rustic cabin nestled amidst the towering pines of the Swiss Alps. The air was thick with the smell of pine needles and wood smoke, a stark contrast to the sterile, metallic scent of the vault they had so recently conquered. They gathered around a crackling fire, their faces illuminated by the dancing flames, their laughter echoing through the stillness of the night. They had pulled off the impossible, outsmarted the most sophisticated security system in the world, and lived to tell the tale.
Catch us if you can,
Lila said, her voice tinged with a mixture of amusement and defiance. She raised her glass of champagne in a silent toast to their success, to their audacity, to their freedom. The others followed suit, their glasses clinking together in a symphony of celebration. They knew that their lives would never be the same, that they were now legends, their names whispered in hushed tones in the shadowy corners of the underworld. They were the ghosts who had haunted the Central Vault of Geneva, the phantoms who had vanished with a king's ransom. They were the stuff of legend.